Most people fail not because they're weak, but because they don't believe hard enough when it matters most. If your self-belief feels fake, fragile, or gone the second life pushes back, this video is for you. There's a level of self-belief that changes how you walk, how you speak, how people treat you, and how life responds to you. Not loud confidence, not fake hype. A quiet, almost delusional belief that stays even when results are slow, when nobody claps, when nothing makes sense yet. In this video, I'm going to show you what that level of self-belief actually is, why most people never reach it, and how to build it in a way that doesn't fall apart the moment things get hard. And somewhere in this video, you're going to realize why you've been stopping just before everything could have changed. Let's clear something up first. Self-belief isn't positive thinking. It's not repeating affirmations in the mirror and hoping life listens. And it's definitely not confidence you feel after you win. Real self-belief is what comes before proof. Think about every person you admire. Athletes, artists, leaders, anyone who made something from nothing. They all believed when it made no sense to believe. When the bank account was low, when the results were invisible, when everyone around them was quiet, or worse, doubting. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you wait for evidence before you believe in yourself, you will always be late to your own life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because their belief only exists when conditions are perfect. The moment something goes wrong, their belief collapses. Miss one workout, maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Have a bad day, maybe I'm not built for this. Get ignored, maybe I'm not good enough. That's not belief, that's renting confidence by the hour. Real self-belief is ownership. That's saying, this is who I am, before the world agrees. And here's where it gets interesting. Your brain doesn't actually care what's true. It cares what you repeat. Studies in neuroscience show that the brain builds identity through repetition and emotion. The more you act as if something is true, the more your brain wires it as reality. That's why habits are so powerful. And that's why identity comes before results. People think it's results, then confidence, and then identity. But it's actually identity, then behavior, and then results. You don't become confident because you succeed. You succeed because you decided who you were before success showed up. This is why delusional self-belief works. Not because it's fake, but because it's early. Every breakthrough looks delusional right before it works. When someone trains every day with no audience, they're called obsessed. When it works, they're called disciplined. When someone keeps showing up with no recognition, they're called unrealistic. When it works, they're called focused. The behavior didn't change. The result did. And here's the part nobody talks about. The hardest phase of self-belief is the silent phase. The phase where you're working but nothing is happening yet. you're improving but nobody sees it, and you believe but there's no feedback. This is where most people quit, not because it's painful, but because it's lonely. Your brain wants confirmation, it wants signs, it wants someone to say you are on the right track. And when it doesn't get that, the doubt sneaks in. Doubt sounds logical, it sounds calm, it sounds reasonable. Maybe slow down. Maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe you should be more realistic. But doubt is rarely wisdom. Most of the time, it's fear wearing a suit. Here is the real danger. If you let doubt decide your actions, you train your brain to distrust yourself. Every time you back out, hesitate, or half commit, your self-belief weakens. Not because you failed, but because you taught yourself you don't follow through. Self-belief isn't built by hype, it's built by keeping promises to yourself. Small ones, boring ones, invisible ones. Wake up when you said you would. Train when you don't feel like it. Show up even when the motivation is gone. That's how belief becomes solid. Because confidence isn't loud, it's quiet consistency. Let me tell you something that changes everything once you see it. Your self-belief doesn't come from what you say about yourself. It comes from what you do when nobody is watching. That's why some people look calm under pressure. They've already proven to themselves who they are. And that's why others panic. Their belief was borrowed from praise, from likes, validation, results. When those disappear, so does their identity. So here's the real question. What are you believing about yourself right now without proof? Because whatever that answer is, that's what you're becoming. If you see yourself as someone trying, you always stay in motion but never arrive. If you see yourself as someone becoming, you tolerate the pain. If you see yourself as someone who already is, your actions change immediately. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about choosing a frame. A frame is how you interpret everything. Two people can fail in the same way. One says, I'm not good enough. The other says, this is a part of the process. Same event, different future. Your self-belief is shaped by the story you tell after things go wrong. Most people sabotage themselves after the mistake, not during it. They miss one step and decide it means something about who they are. That's the real failure. High-level self-belief doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It means you don't let setbacks define you. You expect resistance. You expect slow progress. You expect days where belief feels thin. But you don't negotiate with doubt. You move anyway. This is where discipline and belief meet. Discipline without belief feels heavy. Belief without discipline feels empty. But together, they build momentum. And momentum is dangerous in a good way. Because once momentum starts, your brain finally gets evidence. Not from results yet, but from consistency. I showed up again. I didn't quit. I handled that. That's when belief stops being forced and it becomes becomes natural. Here's something almost nobody realizes. The version of you that you want to become already exists in your behavior, just not consistently yet. You've already been disciplined before. You've already been focused before. You've already been strong before. The problem isn't ability, it's identity stability. You don't lack self-belief, you lack unbreakable belief. The kind that doesn't disappear when you're tired, or bored, or unmotivated. That belief is built by acting like the person you want to be, especially on bad days. Because bad days are where belief is tested. Good days don't count. Anyone can believe when things are working, but believing when nothing is working, that's power. And that's why this level of self-belief changes everything. Not because it guarantees success, but because it guarantees movement. And movement always wins in the long run. Here's the problem most people never fix. They treat self-belief like a feeling. If they feel confident, they act. If they don't, they wait. That's backwards. Waiting to feel ready is how dreams quietly die. The challenge is this. Can you act from belief before confidence shows up? Can you move while you're unsure? Can you stay consistent without motivation? Can you trust yourself without proof? Most people can't. And that's why most people stay average. Let's flip this system. Instead of asking, do I believe in myself? Ask, what would someone who believes in themselves do today? And then do it. Not perfectly, not loudly, just honestly. Belief grows through action, not thought. Every rep, every hour, every quiet decision. This is why journaling helps. This is why routines help. This is why structure helps. They reduce decision fatigue. They remove emotion from the equation. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start saying, this is just what I do. Identity locks in through repetition. And once it locks in, life feels different. You stop chasing motivation. You stop needing approval. You stop explaining yourself. You move with calm certainty. Here's the key moment most people miss. The world doesn't reward belief. It rewards commitment. But belief is what keeps you committed long enough to get rewarded. That's the loop. Believe, act, repeat, become. Once you cross that invisible line, once your belief no longer demands on mood or outcome, everything changes. Your pace changes, your standards change, your patience changes. You stop asking, will this work? And start asking, how long am I willing to stay consistent? That's when you become dangerous. This level of self-belief isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, unshakable. It's built in silence, protected by discipline, strengthened by action. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer negotiations with doubt. Believe early, act daily, and let the results catch up. And remember, every version of you that ever made it once believed when it looked impossible. If this hit, watch the next video on screen. It'll take this belief even deeper.